Well, good afternoon, everybody. And maybe I could put some music in the background while I'm going through this stuff, just to give a little bit. Well, no, because this will go on YouTube, and YouTube's got a stricter algorithm. Anyways, welcome in, everybody. I'm Sentient Dessert. I'm here to discuss a few things before we get into the game and explore the new stuff that's going on. So, let's make this bigger. There we go. All right, so we are here to discuss the patch 6.4 notes. I have not looked at this. I don't know everything. I know a couple of things because of the groups that I run in have talked about it. Um, didn't do it yesterday because I had to drive, what, 150 miles round trip for a doctor's appointment. So I was kind of tired yesterday. So forgive me, please. Um, so playable content. We got new stuff in playable battle system. We'll just get right into it. For those of you new, just looking at the patch notes, this represents which version it affects. So this is the entire game. This is everything Stormblood and later. This is everything Shadowbringers and later. This is Endwalker and later. So just pointing that out. New main scenario quests. That's just a given. That always happens. Character portraits have been implemented for battle dialogue during the main scenario instance quest battles starting from patch 2.0 and on. Okay. So they've been adding the character portraits as something that will pop up so you know which character is speaking during certain scenes just to make it easier for the player to understand the flow of what's going on. Chronicles of New Era have been added. New Pandemonium dungeons. Pandemonium is the 8-man raid, so that's going to be explored today, probably. New side story quests. We're not going to go over what those are yet. Just the quests, I'm leaving that up for people to explore on their own. New chapters to New Game Plus have been added. The graphics for the quest icon that displays above escort NPCs has been changed for certain quests. Okay. This is a good this is a good change. Um there are times that you don't want to, you know, you don't know if you're going to be invested in doing an escort quest because the escort quests in this game are just pathetic. They are some of the worst I've seen implemented across many MMOs, and they're not good. And I don't understand the the choices that a lot of the designers in MMOs make with, oh, we've got to have an escort quest in here because escort quests are the bane of the players. It is I've not met a single person that enjoys the escort quests. And the escort quests in this are not, you've got somebody that follows you at your own speed. It's someone that's doing half of walking speed, and you've got to follow them for like the next 10 minutes. So this will at least prepare players to know, oh, well, I'm not going to be doing anything for the next 10 minutes except walking this person from point A to point B. All right, fates. New items are available from certain gemstone traders. So if you have gemstones, if you do fate grinds, go out there and gather up the items. Rewards for the treasure maps have been adjusted because they're adding, probably they're adding a new area that will appear when you visit the maps, open the maps. A new portal will open. Grand and free companies. New charge symbol options have been added to company crests. So if you want more customizability in your company crest, we've got those options now. I actually like some of those. Following additions and adjustments have been made to subaquatic voyages. New maps have been added, meaning that if you have a free company and you're sending out explorations, you got new places to visit. It will have different requirements to get to each one. Some don't get uncovered immediately, so make sure to send out an exploratory voyage to each location if you want to find the new places. New items have been added, probably to go with the new submersible rank, and oh, you can now see everything that gets picked up from a voyage instead of just the first 10 items. When non-stackable items have been acquired, the total number of items obtained will now be displayed. That's good. That's good. It's so that you know you can pick up all the items that are not stackable, and you've got the room in your inventory. And you don't have to run back and forth like 4 or 5 times just trying to fill up your inventory. Housing. All right. The message that displays when confirming the results of a housing lottery in which only one person has participated has changed. So if you were the only person in the lottery, which I can't see that being a big thing, since most people are like on top of it. The following additions and adjustments have been made to message books. The home world of the player will now be displayed. A unique mark will now display on messages written by players that belong to the same free company as you. Okay, that's just more information. Furnishing from the 14 design contest 2019, so 4 years ago, have finally been implemented. Hopefully they will get faster on that and people can see their work in the game faster. New furnishings have been added. That's good. New orchestrion rolls have been added. New aquarium fish. That is a cool looking turtle. New flower pot seeds have been added. Chrysanthemums specifically. And they can be bought by material suppliers in all of the housing districts. Manorville Gold Saucer. New cards have been added and new opponents for Triple Triad have been added. If you enjoy Triple Triad, your deck's about to get bigger. Miscellaneous. Following additions and adjustments have been made to Island Sanctuary. So if you have the Island Sanctuary, this is something that will affect you. Maximum rank has been raised to 16. New visions have been added. New items have been added that are offered by the Horrendous Hoarder NPC in exchange for Islanders and Seafarers' Cowries. A new gathering area has a new gathering area has been added to the wilds. It can be unlocked by making sufficient progress enhancing your island. New gathering points have been added, new materials, new construction plots available in the hideaway, new facilities, new crafting recipes, and new produce. So this is stuff that they do anytime they expand it. And new animals have been added. Oh, goody. New materials can now be acquired from foraging expeditions. New areas have been added for foraging. New handicrafts have been added. A warning that displays when a material deficit will be incurred for handicrafts has been added. Under the newly added workshop tab in the Sanctuary settings menu, this setting will display when building a structure, crafting an item, or shipping a handicraft will cause a material deficit for the specified period. In addition, players may now also select the period from which allocated materials and aggregated and displayed in the exports menu via allocated item export settings. Okay, so basically it's going to give you a warning if you are going to run out of materials before the end of stuff so that you know to go out and get those materials beforehand. The maximum number of minions that can be released is now 50, up from 40. Furnishing Glamours featured has been implemented. Furnishing Glamours feature can be unlocked by making progress on the island. Glamours can be cast using furnishings in your inventory. Furnishings used for Glamours will not be extended, but they will be bound to you. Will not be expended, but they will be bound to you. So you got it in your inventory, you use it, it's now yours, you can't sell it again, but it doesn't make it go away like gear used to when you did this. From the Island Keeps index, select Manage Furnishings and place Furnishing Glamours. Up to 90 slots can be unlocked for Furnishing Glamours. You can dye them, registering them. You can put them as glamours, and they will allow you to place them on the island, even if they are not in your inventory. So it will still bind the item to you, but you don't have to carry around furniture with you everywhere. To do so, after selecting Place Furnishing Glamour in the Furnishing Management menu, select your desired item and choose Register Glamour from the subcommand menu. Please note that registering a furnishing item as a glamour requires the use of an island prism. Once registered, the selected item will be bound to you. Up to 120 items can be registered this way. Island Prism allows you to, I'm guessing it's like a glamour prism, but only on the island. New hairstyles have been added for the Vieira. They're finally getting the hairdos that they need. And for the Hrothgar. And that hair makes me think of Sephiroth. If you're just listening, watching, whatever, I'm happy with that pun. The following additions have been made to Wondrous Tales. Prizes available for exchange for closed gold, silver, and bronze certificates have been adjusted, and the Ether font and Euphrosyne have been added to what can come up on it. So everything from the previous expansion or previous big patch. Oh, we can get a new bed with faux leaves. And the new trial for faux hollows is now Z1T9 Unreal, which, yeah, new emotes have been added. Actions and traits have been adjusted as follows in the battle system. This is what we want to know about. Let me hydrate my throat. All right. Gladiator Paladin. This is relevant for me for my videos because I play a Gladiator Paladin. So Riot Blade, the potency has been increased by 20. Circle of Scorn, potency has been increased by 20. Divine Veil, the radius has been increased. That is wonderful. So now it will hit everybody instead of just those that are within melee to you, because, yeah. Royal Authority, potency has been increased, and Atonement, potency has been increased, and it no longer interrupts action combos. That's going to be a big one. Interrupting action combos is one reason why, I learned to play the way I played, because every action that you did interrupted everything else that you were doing. So things that do not interrupt that are good. Warrior, Storm's Path, potency has been increased. Vengeance, the vulnerability down status effect has been combined with the Vengeance status effect. I am not quite sure what that means. It's been a while since I've looked at Warrior. Storm's Eye, potency has been increased. Fell Cleaves, potency has been increased. Upheaval has been increased. Shake It Off had its range increased to 30. And Inner Chaos has had its potency increased. Dark Knight, Dark Missionary has had its range increased. The ones that have had the range increase are all defensive cooldowns that affect the party that make it take less damage. Gunbreaker, Keen Edge has been increased in potency. Brutal Shell, potency increased, and Heart of Light has been increased in range. The Monk, Mantra has had its range increased, and Brotherhood has had its range increased. Both of those defensive cooldowns, buffs. It looks like they're doing a general across-the-board increase on buff range. Jump. Big news for Dragoons. It can now be executed while bound. To improve the functionality of this action, Jump will no longer affect the character's position as recognized by the server. The camera will no longer follow your character when executing Jump. So, what this means for Dragoon players out there is that when you use Jump, you are still going to be registered where you're standing when it comes to damage being dealt to you for, you get out of the red area and then you jump. Because a lot of times when I've played Dragoon, I have waited until an attack goes off before I do jump, even though it's been like active. I can use it for like the last 5 seconds. So that is a big thing that's going to increase Dragoon damage considerably. And, hopefully it won't get them killed. Battle Litany has had its radius increased to 30. Dragon Sight now nullifies action direction requirements for self. Okay, so it functions like True North now. High Jump, same thing with Jump. It's just the upgraded version of Jump. So big news for Dragoons, and anybody that plays Dragoons or that's wanted to play it but hated the fact that, you kept getting killed because, well, I moved out of the area, but I jumped. Yeah, so that's going to be good. Uh, for Samurai Tenka Goken, the radius has been increased to 8 yalms. I am not as familiar with samurai skills as I should be. Hisatsu Seinen, or Hisatsu Seinei, potency has been increased considerably. It's gone up by 60. Uh, Kaishi Goken, the radius has been increased. Shoha, potency has been increased. Ogi Namikiri, potency has been increased. And Kaishi Namikiri has been increased. So I'm guessing that Tenka and Kaishi Goken, I could look it up right now. I probably should, just to know. Uh, that's Yeah, we gotta add Final Fantasy VII because that's an actual term. All right. Yeah, it's the skill that requires 2 seals to activate. That just you do a point blank AOE as a samurai, so that's gonna be good. Arcane Circle effect radius has been increased. Um, effect radius for Peloton has been increased to 30. So that means that we can, as bards, as machinists, as dancers, we can now make people run faster from farther away. Bards, okay. Oh, as a bard, I love this. Mage's Ballad. Range has been increased for beneficial effects. Army's Peon, also range increased. Wanderer's Minuet, range increased. Battle Voice has been increased to 30, like the other buff skills. Troubadour, defensive skill. Nature's Min, healing skill. Radiant Finale. Trying to remember if I used that. Probably should. I don't know. But the range has been increased on all of them. I don't I don't remember that one by name. I'm probably sounding like a bad bard by not knowing what that is. Machinist, Tactician, range has been increased. Dancer, Shield Samba has been increased. Um, range of step bonus effect granting technical finish and a spirit to self and party members has been increased to 30. So all of their technical finishes have been improved with range so that people don't need to be standing directly next to you, and they can even be on the other side of the boss and get buffed. So that's good. Xenoglossy, potency has been increased. Enhanced Enochian 3, the magic damage increase has been changed to 23% instead of 21%, so it's gone up. A lot of buffs this round. Summoner, Searing Light has gone up in range. Red Mage, their effects Embolden and Magic Barrier have increased in range. White Mage, Asylum, the radius has been increased to 15. Dia, the potency has been increased to 65, and the damage over time potency has been increased to 65. Temperance, the range has been increased on Temperance to 50, so that's great. That's wonderful. Scholar, Fey Illumination has increased to 30. Sacred Soil has increased to 15. Deployment Tactics to 30. Uh, Seraphic Illumination, Consolation, and Expedient have all increased to 30. Astrologian, Divination has increased to 30. Collective Unconsciousness, or Collective Unconscious, range of additional effects reducing damage taken by 10% has been increased from 8 to 30. And an additional effect reducing damage taken now has a duration of 5 seconds. So, what how I'm interpreting that is, especially with the note underneath, is that um, the damage reduction only lasts for 5 seconds, and in order to reapply it, you have to leave the area and then go back. So it's an interesting thing. Caraccioli, effect radius is increased to 30. Physis 2, Holos, and Panheima have all increased to 30, and Eucrasian Dosis 3, the potency has been increased to 75. Following action has been removed, and I was not happy about this. They got rid of Selene for Scholars. However, they did treat Selene, or they treat the summon like they treat the Edgies on, the Aegis on Summoner. So you can now reskin instead of having summon a different fairy. The following actions will now use unique visuals and sound effects when applied. Peloton, Troubadour, Tactician, Searing Light, Magic Barrier, Whispering Dawn, Fey Elimination, Expedient, and Divination. Limit breaks have been adjusted to reduce variance in their damage dealt. I don't know if this means that they're reducing the damage for single target or if they're increasing the damage for multi-target. Because I know that the damage for a single target limit break was like 100, and then ranged DPS was non-magic range DPS was like 85, and then magic range DPS was like 70. So there was a considerable difference in the damage that was being dealt. So hopefully they brought everything up to the single target, but we'll find out. Glamours can now be applied to the Scholar Fairy. You need to complete a quest. Players must complete the job quest Forgotten but Not Gone. Okay. So that might be something that if you're a scholar, I know I'm going to go do that on my main character. After filling the requirements, the text command AG Glamour / Pet Glamour can be used to change the appearance of your fairy. All right, pets that are moving will now stop immediately to execute actions when commanded. This is really important to know because in the past, pets were commandable. You'd say, go sit here, they would go sit there, but they could also get hit. And it's why a lot of, scholars would have their pet like sit away from the boss because they could get hit by AoEs and certain attacks, but they would still be in range to heal. One thing that changed with the pets going on to a non targetable basis is that it got rid of this. It got rid of the ability to force them to do an action right then and there. It changed the behavior of the AI a bit. So with this being added in, it means that when you click on a skill that the pet's going to use, it executes it instead of like moving from point A to point B. If it's like following you and you need it to like go off right then and there, it will now do that. A text-based filter has been added to the Blue Magic spellbook. That's good. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the Blue Mage log. Weekly challenge category has been added, which only displays weekly targets. Contents of the logs can now be collapsed or displayed per expansion. The location of enemies in the following areas have been adjusted. Lower Lanaskia, Amarang, and Garlemald. A new dungeon, the Ether Font, has been added. We will skip that information. Item level sync has been added to the following duties: the Fell Court of Troya and Lapis Manalis. A new trial has been added, the Voidcast Deus. I'm going to skip over that, let everybody learn the dungeons on their own. It's my philosophy, really. The drop rate for the Links of Imperious Windflute has been increased. You can also purchase it in exchange for totems from Nesvaz in Radzat Han. The new raid dungeon Pandemonium Anabasios has been added. I'm going to have to look up the pronunciation of that before we go into it. So that's going to be the new 8-man raid. And rewards, the treasure coffers that appear after completing it will not yield gear, but will yield tokens like all of the 8-mans. And you can only win 1 token per circle per week. So be aware when you're picking out gear that you got to follow that. Personally, my first week, I tend to go for the the accessories first, because the accessories, most people aren't going for the accessories. They want the chest piece, or they want the head piece, or they want the legs, because it's going to be it's what they're going after, and it requires like 4 drops, 2 drops, whereas the accessories, it's just 1 drop. And the accessories can be used across multiple classes usually. So that's why I tend to go for the accessories. It raises things up faster, so you can get in and do more stuff. Completion rewards. You can also earn an unsung blade by completing the 4th duty every week. And the blade can be traded for a weapon after a certain number have been accrued and certain items have been purchased with tomestones. So that's just explaining the different things. You've also got the Savage version, explaining the gear, what the item level is, exchange rates, and following duties have been added to the raid finder. The Voidcast Deus Extreme, Containment Bay Z1T9, Unreal, and Anabasios 9 through 12. All right, the following duties have been moved to the duty finder. Mount Ordeals Extreme, Abyssos 5 through 8. Players will now receive the Power of the Echo in the event all player members are incapacitated in Mount Ordeals and Mount Ordeals Extreme. The following adjustments have been made to Euphrosyne. The weekly restriction on rewards has been lifted, and the weekly restriction on obtaining coins has been lifted. So you can go in and get coins, you can go in and get gear, you can gear up your characters as much as you want in Euphrosyne. Alright, the following adjustments have been made to the Omega Protocol Ultimate. The weekly restriction on obtaining Omega Totems has been removed, and the item level sync has been set to 635. The adjustment was implemented to preserve the difficulty of the encounter as well as the rarity of the title rewarded for its completion, the Alpha Legend. Tomestones of Comedy have been added. Players can only obtain 450 tomestones per week and carry a maximum of 2,000. So the usual tomestone exchange will have to occur. So your old tomestones, go trade them in. So causality will now have a maximum of 2,000. Astronomy are gone. Aphorism are gone. Poetics remain because they've kept poetics since the beginning. I like that though. The weekly limitation on tomestones of causality has been removed. Yep. Tomestones of astronomy, they're no longer obtainable. All trials where they would give them, you now get causality instead. They can now exchange their remaining astronomy for causality by speaking to Oriana in Mordona. Teleport to Mordona, head north. She's going to be in that little tiny hut just by the northern gate. So, tomestones of aphorism have been removed from the game. Poetics have remained for years. Alright, duties changed. Duty Roulette Expert requires Lapis Manalis and Ether Font now. And you need 605 or higher to be able to enter those. I might be doing some gear runs today. Following adjustments have been made to Duty Roulette level 90 dungeons. The Fell Court of Troya has been added, and the average item level to register has been increased to 575. Voidcat's Dais has been added to Duty Roulette Trials. Euphrosyne has been added to Duty Roulette Alliance Raids. And Anabasos 9th through 12th has been added to Duty Roulette Normal. And Mentor has changed to include Etherfont, Void Casteus, and 9 through 12 of the raid. And it's been raised to 615 to go in as a mentor. The number and types of elegant tomestones received from Duty Roulette have been adjusted. And this is, the numbers have not changed. It looks like it is just the types that have changed. So if you were getting the premium currency before at the same rate, you'll be getting it the same way. Yeah. So the number and types of elegant tomestones received from PvP have changed, and it's the same. So the number and types of elegant tomestones awarded for defeating elite marks has been adjusted. Values remain the same, but the types have changed. So no real big changes there. Deep dungeons have been changed as well. Excitron has been changed. So from maps, you get the newer tomestones. Falling Trials have been added to Stone, Sky, and Sea. All the new dungeons. So you can go and practice there if you want to practice. Recommend practicing if you are the type that wants to do something like that. Huh. Have I been doing this the entire time without... Yeah, I have. I've been doing this... Oh, well, we'll just keep it. We'll just keep it. Don't worry. Technical stuff. Adjustments have been made to the following instance. Dungeons. Siren Song C. Alright, so these are the ones that I need to focus on. And yeah. And I realize I do understand. I know that I've got to go back and make the updated videos for the other duties from 6.2, 6.3. And I apologize for not doing that. Life has not been fun. I haven't had the time to invest in making the videos. So in the future, if you're listening to this on YouTube, know that the videos are coming. So we got Siren Song C, Bardrum's Medal, the Castle, Castrum Albania. All right, let's get that there. So Siren Song C, the positioning of certain NPCs has been adjusted. We'll see what that is. Certain mechanics in the Garula boss have been adjusted, and certain mechanics in the Yol boss have been adjusted. So that will be fun. Doma Castle, the Magitech Rearguard boss has been adjusted, Hexadron boss has been adjusted, and the final boss has been adjusted. Albania, boss adjustments, Alamigo, certain NPCs have been adjusted, and the boss fights have been adjusted. So we will get to go in there and find out what has changed in those. Possibly today. We'll see how things go. No hiccuping. The duty support has been added for the following duties. Siren Song C, Bardrum's Medal, Doma Castle. Alright, so this means that you can run through as a run through with NPCs instead of having to form a party with other players. When undertaking variant dungeons, currently equipped variant actions can now be confirmed via status effect icons on the party list. This will allow players to readily confirm the variant action of all party members. An issue wherein the help text for the variant action variant ultimatum erroneously states the increased enmity effect has a duration of 30 seconds has been fixed. The correct duration is 60 seconds. When challenge criterion dungeons, uses of variant raise 2 will also be restored when enemies other than boss monsters appear. When undertaking the criterion dungeon, another Sildan subterrane savage, time remaining until the sewer dweller effect is active can now be confirmed via the duty list. Okay. The following logos actions have been adjusted in Eureka. Protect L, the effect has been changed from increases the defense of the target by 1,000 to reduces physical damage taken by 22. Shell L reduces magic damage taken by 22. Wisdom of the Plate Bearer increases defense by 150 and maximum HP by 50%. Reduces damage taken by 80% while increasing maximum HP by 50. Wisdom of the Guardian changed from increases defense by 50 to reduces damage taken by 45%. Wisdom of the Elder, it okay, it just it changes the magic defense from 1,000 to 22% diminish from magic damage. And Wisdom of the Indomitable reduces damage taken by 64%. Okay. So those are the changes. They went for a percentage based instead of a numerical base because they're like players are going to know what the numerical base is. PvP. So for those of you that have been doing PvP, we've got some changes to talk about. Paladin, Holy Sheltron, potency of damage dealt if the barrier is not absorbed and the effect duration expires has been changed from 2,000 plus 50% of the barrier's remaining potency to 100% of the barrier's remaining potency. So paladins are getting a buff. Monk, Enlightenment, potency of pressure points affects additional damage has been reduced from 12,000 to 8,000. I'm personally in favor of nerfing monks. Just across the board for PvP. Thunderclap. Wind resonance effect duration has been increased from 5 to 10 seconds. Wind resonance effect duration extension has been increased from 5 to 10 seconds. Dragoon. Wormwind Thrust. Potency has been changed from 4 to 16,000 to 8 to 16,000. Heaven's Thrust. Potency has been increased from 10,000 to 12,000. Horrid Roar. Potency has been increased from 2 to 4,000. High Jump. Potency has been reduced from 5 to 4,000, and Sky Shatter, the potency has been reduced from 1,800 to 1,600. Increased potency of 32,000 targets within 5 yalms has not been changed. Okay. Ninja. Bunshin, the effect duration has been reduced to 20 seconds. Seiton Tenchu, the time required to fill the limit gauge has been increased from 90 to 105 seconds. So a minor debuff, but a massive buff for Ninja. Samurai, Hisatsu Chiten. Kuzushi effect duration has been increased. Samurai do not need buffs. Reaper, Soul Slice, recast time has been reduced to 15 seconds. Grim Swath, maximum stacks of Soul Reaver have been reduced to 1. Bard, Silent Nocturne, potency has been reduced from 2,000 to 0. Range has been reduced from 25 to 15. Silence effect duration has been reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. That was the only functional skill for a bard. Why? Apex Arrow potency is up. Repelling Shot potency is up. Warden's Peon. Warden's Grace effect reducing damage taken has been changed to 25%. Warden's Grace effect increasing HP recovered by healing actions has been changed from 20 to 25%. Okay, so they nerf the best skill that they've got, and that's not a good trade. That's not a good trade. That's less than a single cooldown. Alright, Machinist, Bioblaster potency is now doubled while under the effect of analysis. Chainsaw, damage potency has been reduced to 8,000, and potency is now increased by 50% when the target's HP is below 50%. The additional effect, 3% chance to deal damage equal to 95% of target's HP while under the effect of analysis, has been changed to potency is increased by 50% while under the effect of analysis. That is a welcome change to Chainsaw. You can't one-shot people with Chainsaw anymore. Alright, Red Mage. Enchanted Riposte. The additional effective barrier potency is increased by 10% when target is affected with Monomaki has been added. And the same for Enchanted Zwerchau and Enchanted Redoublement. Stage, Toxicon. Effect duration has been increased to 6 seconds for both versions of the spell. New PvP actions have been added. Guillotine. Delivers an attack with a potency of 8,000 to all enemies in a cone before you. Can only be executed while under the effect of Soul Reaver. For the Reaper. The following PvP actions have been removed. Gibbet and Gallows. Series 3 will end and Series 4 will begin. So new things available from PvP will be available. And you can only obtain them while, yeah. We got a new rabbit mount, it looks like. Crystalline Conflict. To improve the visibility in the Clockwork Castle town, the height and size of certain objects in the field have been adjusted. Season 6 will end and Season 7 will begin. With the season ends... Okay, yeah, that's just explaining mechanics in the season. Commendation Crystals, a new ranking and tier reward will be added in Season 7. Commendation Crystals can be exchanged by speaking to the Commendation Quartermaster in Wolfsten Pier. Now, my problem with... Oh, my mistake. Crystalline Conflict is not what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the PvP mode. So, an icon will appear above the Seasonal Quartermaster at the Wolfsten Pier for players who have yet to claim their seasonal rewards. So, if you haven't claimed rewards, go and see him. The music for Crystalline Conflict matches has been reverted to the version used prior to patch 6.38. The following options for custom matches will now be toggled on by default: arena events and kits. Frontline. The following additions and adjustments have been made to modifiers for damage dealt, damage taken, and limit gauge buildup. The Warrior and Dark Knight modifiers for damage dealt has been changed from 0 to minus 10%. Good. The Scholar modifier for damage dealt has been changed from negative 10 to 0%. The Tank and Melee DPS modifier for damage taken has been changed from minus 60 to minus 50%. The Physical Range DPS, Magical Range DPS, and Healer modifier for damage taken has been changed from minus 30 to minus 25%, excluding Dancer and Red Mage. The Dancer and Red Mage modifier for damage taken has been changed from minus 30 to minus 35. The amount of time required to fill up the limit gauge for Dragoon, Samurai, Dancer, and White Mage has been increased by 15 seconds. Good. The amount of time required to fill limit gauge for Bard has been decreased by 15 seconds. Okay. So what this means for anybody that's not familiar with PvP is, if you were a bard fighting as a bard that has gone up against ninjas and monks and other melee DPS, you barely do any damage to them, but they can like get you down to like half life in one hit. It's just not been very balanced. The duration of stuns, heavy, bind, silent, sleep, and deep freeze statuses. Okay, so it's across the board, it's been reduced. The limp status will no longer be applied to players who are attacked while riding a mount. If a player is attacked while mounted, they will now forcibly dismount and gain the hoofing its status for 5 seconds. Okay. That is going to that is going to change some people's strategies. Anyways, the invulnerability status given at each Grand Company's base will now prevent all status and knockback effects while active. The designated quantity of data required to win a campaign in Seal Rock has been reduced from 800 to 700. It's going to make things go faster. The following adjustments have been made to Fields of Glory Shatter. The quantity of data required to win the campaign is increased to 2,000. Allegan Tomoliths have been removed. The rate at which Icebound Tomoliths spawn has been adjusted. Icebound Tomoliths that have been destroyed will now regenerate after a fixed amount of time has passed. Oh! The amount of data stored in large and small icebound tomoliths has been adjusted. The max HP of large and small icebound tomoliths has been adjusted. Various adjustments have been made to the terrain and placement of the tomoliths. So, they've reworked the map. That's going to be fun to figure out. The tactical rating required to win campaign on Ansel Hakir, Danshig Nadam, has been decreased to 1400. In order to rework the duty in light of frontline PvP adjustments, players will be temporarily unable to register for Borderland Ruins secure. Oh, that's not fun. In order to rework... No, we just did that. Grand Company affiliation and Grand Company bases have been adjusted to display more prominently on the UI. Okay, so it will now give you a better idea of where you're going to because you always switch no matter where you're at. The battle high gauge has been adjusted to display more prominently. Score info has been added as a HUD element. That'll be nice. The winning team name will now be displayed in Japanese when the in-game language is set to Japanese. Daily Challenge Frontline will now give PvP Series XP. New items have been added. Grand prize winning entries from the weapon design contest have been added. Reaper and Sage edition. So we'll have some fun looking weapons there. I really need to try to do some artwork and submit to one of these in the future. New recipes have been added. If you're a crafter, get ready to craft a lot. Adjustments have been made to the graphics of the following equipment. A portion of the above equipment will now display the skin tone of the player character model as a result of this change. Note that the affected portions may not display under certain conditions, and it's Valentian items. The following items can now be equipped regardless of gender. Valentians, items from various previous holiday events. Golly, my brain is already given out on me. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the glamour system. Items stored in the glamour dresser and armoire can now be selected from the drop-down menu when performing Cast Glamour in an in-room. Okay. In addition, equipment held by retainers will now also be displayed in Cast Glamour. Okay. That is going to be good. That is going to be wonderful because I've got all my relic weapons on my retainers. Radiance gear can now be purchased in exchange for sacks of nuts from the guild ship hunt vendors. So you can now get new gear from the guild ship hunters. New items have been available in exchange for achievement certificates. Certain items can now be sold, desynthesized, or submitted for expert delivery missions. The number of island prisms yielded from crafting has been increased from 1 to 3. New conditions have been added for expert recipes. These conditions appear in the newly added expert recipes. Good Omen. Guarantees good material condition for the next step. Okay. That's going to be a fun addition. After synthesizing an item in the crafting log, a list of recipes will automatically adjust upon redisplay so that items before and after the crafted item are visible. I'll have to see how that works. New miner and botanist gathering points have been added. New items have been added to gathering points. Gathering attempts and integrity bonuses have been added to certain legendary nodes. Aquarium breeding has been added to the filter settings in the fish guide, so you now select which type of fish you want to put in there. New fishing holes have been added. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the ocean fishing. A new route has been added. Players must first complete the main scenario quest Stormblood to access the route. New bosses have been added. New voyage missions have been added. Players may now select between 2 different routes when embarking on a voyage. When registering for an embark, a voyage to the existing Indigo route or the newly added Ruby route may be added. Registration cutoff times may be viewed by checking the sailing schedule. The level cap for desynthesis has been increased to 640. New mounts have been added. That's a big boy. New Chocobo Barding has been added. New minions have been added. Ruby weapon. New accessories have been added. And then we got the system stuff. Following additions and adjustments have been made to character creation. These adjustments will also apply when editing a character with Fantasia, summoning the aesthetician, or editing a retainer's appearance. The expansion pack required to select certain races will now be displayed if you have yet to register a license for that expansion. Good. Lets you see what certain things will look like. That is a wonderful option. When adjusting character sliders, a marker will now display the slider's previously selected value. Wonderful. RGB values will now be displayed when selecting certain features, including eye color, skin color, and hair color. Oh, that's going to make things interesting. An additional help message will now display when saving character appearance data. When selecting a character's date of birth and patron deity, in addition, an additional help message will display and inform players that the choices have no effect on gameplay. You see, that's one thing that adding flavor to games has always had a problem with, is they don't say this has no effect in game. It's just, this is flavor for your character. The only choosing a patron deity, if you get married in game, your patron deity symbol will be one of them shown behind the dais. An additional help message will display when attempting to select a congested world as a character's home world. New achievements have been added. Certain duties and trials will now count towards the completion of certain achievements. We're going to skip those. Certain quests will now display as question mark in the recommendation window to prevent spoilers. That's why I'm skipping some stuff in this, and I apologize if you want to know about those more in depth. In order to prevent a server congestion immediately after the release of patch 6.4, we will be implementing multiple field instances for Radzethan, Garlemald, and Elpis. The option to display prices with fee included has been added to the market board. Good. The following additions and adjustments have been made to retainers. New items can now be obtained from quick exploration ventures. New retainer exploration ventures have been added. Wonderful. The layout of the retainer exploration venture window has been adjusted to include a search feature for a venture and a venture history. Okay. The following additions and adjustments have been made to gear sets. Gear sets can now be used from the beginning of the game. Up to 100 total gear sets may be saved. Oh, when registering a gear set to a hotbar, the gear set's item level will now display on the tooltip. A guide on using gear sets has been added to the gear set list. That might be something worth going over. When changing to a newly acquired job, players can now choose whether or not to transfer hotbar crossbar settings from their associated class. To prevent unintended overwrites of hotbar crossbar settings, this window will no longer display after progressing through job quests. Okay, so what that means is, do you want to keep the bars that you were using for Gladiator and just apply to Paladin now? Or, yeah, that is a good choice, and it will help people clear up their bars, because I recall, removing the stone and having everything just go higgledy-piggledy, or applying the stone and having the same thing happen. New stickers have been added to the group pose feature. The duties can be recorded have been changed. New portrait accents for adventure plates have been added. Good. The following additions and adjustments have been made to portraits. New accents have been added, new poses have been added. Portraits will now display at the start of the following duties: treasure hunts and seasonal event instances. A message will now display in Portraits menu when no gear sets have been registered. If a character's current gear appearance does not match their last saved gear set they used for a specific portrait, a message will display indicating the gear does not match. I wish you would just update it, but still like display the image, but have the new gear there. The following additions and adjustments have been made to player commendations. When the display of portraits is enabled for player commendations, they will also now display after matches in Crystalline Conflict. Player commendations may now be given by selecting a player and either double-clicking them or pressing the OK button twice. The position and the setting of the settings button window has been adjusted in the player commendation window. The following adjustments have been made to display names. Players can now enable the display of job or class icon in PvE areas. Okay. The following online status icons will not be displayed when class and job icons are enabled. Looking for meld material, looking for party, recruiting party members, party leader, party member, playing triple triad, or in duty. Please note, however, the away from keyboard icon will override the display of all icons. This feature is unavailable for cross-world parties. Or font color members. Forgive me. Font color for party members can now be changed according to role. Unavailable for cross-world parties. The option to display or hide the traveler title in instance duties has been added. This option only affects the title's display on your screen. Small and smallest have been added to the display name size. The out-of-battle option has been added to the display name settings. Online status and traveler titles will no longer be displayed during instance battles in which players control NPCs. The following additions and adjustments have been made to Party Alliance chat. Accessing these settings via the character configuration menu by selecting the log window settings tab, followed by name display settings. For non-cross-world parties, these settings will not be applied to messages sent by members in differing areas. Alright, so chat log. Display icons for classes, jobs, roles. Okay. I'm going to be turning that off if it's automatically on. I don't like that idea. But others will, and that's why it's there. Yeah, I really don't like that. I do the color variation is not doesn't grok with me. The option to display class job role icon in the chat has been added. Class job abbreviations in the chat log has been added. That I might do. The option to change font color according to the role has been added. When joining a recruiting party, the following categories will now be displayed in the chat log. Objective, comment, duty finder settings. Okay. An option to align the party list to the bottom of the screen has been added. Applying these settings via the system by choosing HUD layout, selecting the party list, accessing UI element settings via the gear icon, and then finally checking the appropriate box. Okay. The default position and size of the Alliance list has been adjusted. Their default display had been changed to the bottom right of the screen with size set to 80. This adjustment will not affect current displays and will only be reflecting when creating a new character or returning the HUD layout to default settings. Okay, so we don't have to mess around with that. Oh, nice. They added target to attack 6, 7, and 8 to the signs. It's going to be good for PvP. After a ready check is completed, a sound effect dependent on the result will now play. Okay, that will alert people. An option to store newly obtained items in the last open inventory slot has been added. Items will be placed starting from the bottom right of the last page in your inventory. Applying this setting via the character configuration menu by selecting item settings and then checking the appropriate box under inventory settings. I wish they had that this is a great idea. I much prefer having it different for gear versus non-gear items. The option to enable or disable hotbar replacement has been added. Access this via the character configuration menu by selecting hotbar settings tab, followed by the cross tab, and then checking or unchecking automatically replace cross hotbar with pet hotbar. Okay. Just means that the pet hotbar will be swapped out. The classification of companions in the click filter settings has been changed from NPC objects to pets minions under the target tab in control settings in the character configuration menu. The layout of the request repair window has been adjusted. The adjustments were made to ensure that text displays intended for all languages. Okay. Additional icons have been added for user macros. Good. PlayStation Plus members may now register one additional Aetheryte as a free destination. Okay, so encouraging people that use PlayStation Plus. Yeah. Following additions and adjustments have been made to the friend list. PlayStation 5. A PlayStation icon will be displayed if both player and their friend are logging in from a PlayStation console. PlayStation Network profiles may be viewed via subcommand if both the player and their friend are logging in from... Do not like that. Absolutely do not like that. That should be a toggleable thing for the players. The reason I say this is because sometimes you don't want to be contacted. It reminds me of the debacle that Blizzard had many years ago with we're going to make your real name available as the only thing that's usable on our forums and websites. It's good in intent, but it's not good because it's not an option. If it is an option, I take back my criticism. But if this is an automatic thing, it needs to be a toggleable thing because, frankly, if you're playing via PlayStation, you don't necessarily want to be contacted by people that you're friends with or that, yeah, it's sharing of information that should not be shared without consent. That's what I'm saying. Members of the same party who are also playing on a PlayStation console will now appear in the Players Met screen of the PlayStation Network. That needs to be toggleable too. If that's toggleable on the PlayStation side, great. An icon will be displayed in the contact list of both players and their contact are logging in from... Yeah. The following options have been added to the character configuration menu. Inventory settings. Store all newly obtained items in the last open inventory slot. General tab, settings, display class or job icon with nameplate. Enable display of traveler title and instance duties. Party member settings. Hotbar settings. Okay, this is just telling you where in the different configurations these are. So, if you're having difficulty finding something, scroll down to the very bottom of the patch notes. Hotbar settings is going to be under display, hotbar display settings. Crosstab is going to be under hotbar settings, crosstab general settings. Log window settings is going to be general tab, name display settings. So, following text commands have been added. Hand to heart. That's got to be the new emote. Subcommands for attack have been added with marking text. Subcommands Eos and Selene have been added to the pet glamour. Additions have been made to the auto-translation dictionary. Always good. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the data center travel system. An additional help message will now display when the players choose to visit another data center. Sound effect and gamepad vibration will now be used to indicate a player has successfully moved to another center. Additions have been made to the PS4 and PS5 auto-completion dictionary. New trophies have been added for PS5. The following additions and adjustments have been made to the Mac version. Mac computers utilizing Apple Silicon chipset M1/M2 have been added as support models. The launcher design has been updated to the latest version. New music, sound effects, and voices have been added. And then resolved issues. Alright. The following issues have been addressed. An issue during the instanced battle in the Paladin job quest Keeping the Oath, wherein players could not progress the battle under certain conditions. An issue during the battle with Faradad Hollow in the Dunsky Alliance raid, wherein the battle does not progress under certain conditions. An issue in Eureka Orthos, wherein the position of treasure coffers was incorrect. An issue wherein the Red Mage PvP Limit Break Southern Cross was treated as a spell and could receive the effects of manification. An issue where, when spectating custom matches wherein raising the camera angle past a certain threshold would prevent the camera from lowering back down to the ground. An issue in the Sylph Step Gate wherein certain graphics did not display properly. An issue in Island Sanctuary wherein the earnings listed for the previous season differed from the earnings received. An issue when viewing the fishing log and fishing guide wherein the weather conditions listed for catching the sunfish were incorrect. That probably got a lot of people angry. An issue wherein the value of the vitality and critical rate attributions of the Alexandrian metal blade gladiator's arm were incorrect. Where the vitality and determination attributes were incorrect for the shield of that set. An issue wherein the lighting for characters did not display properly in certain areas. I think I came across that. An issue wherein setting the pet hotbar to display pet hotbar only under the pet hotbar settings would result in the cross hotbar also displaying with pet hotbar actions. An issue wherein the game client would not open when logging in via the launcher on macOS, and other minor text issues have been addressed. Alright. Known issues. Not going to go over those right now. But that is the Dark Throne patch 6.4 notes. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it informative. If you want to see more Final Fantasy XIV videos, please like, follow, and subscribe. The usual YouTube stuff. To catch me live, check out my Twitch, link in the description. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.